Boker Tov, everybody. So this week's parsha is Bechukotai, and it's the final book. It's the final chapter in the book of Vayikra, of Leviticus. Bechukotai means in my statutes, in my ordinances, in Bechukotai telechu, right? What happens if you follow my ordinances? This is from God's perspective. So it talks a little bit about a rewards and consequences sort of situation, right? So the things that happen if we follow these statutes, they lead to a very good life, right? And in fact, I think that I want to tie it in for a second to the Ahavat Olam. Uh, it actually talks about, which is in the evening liturgy. It talks about God's love for the people of Israel. And V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha, right? It's talking about finding joy in the commandments, finding joy in following God's commandments, right? And that's something that this portion talks about, right? The joy of following the commandments, the statutes, the ordinances, the good life that it leads to, right? But it does contain a rebuke, right? What happens if you don't follow them, right? So I want you to think for a moment. All of us had the experience of being children. Think for a moment about a time in your life when you were a child and you received a harsh rebuke from your parent, right? Something, a harsh rebuke, right? Something, a yelling or just something very, just a strict no, a strict don't do that, right? I think we've all experienced that. And perhaps you thought, oh, I won't be like that when I'm a parent. Maybe those of you who are parents, you probably experienced a similar thing to your children, saying a harsh no, right? A strict rebuke. But that doesn't come from a place of any ill will. It comes from a place of love, right? You love your child. A parent loves their child, right? So God loves us. We know God loves us. And so even with this rebuke, even with the punishments that come if we don't follow the statutes, the ordinances, the commandments, God still loves us. God still doesn't give up hope in us. And so this portion, even when that rebuke happens, even when that happens, and there's still hope because God still doesn't give up on us. So I think it's important for us to remember. We should follow these commandments and everything, because not just because of the rewards that it reaps, but because it's the right thing to do. And actually, if you follow psychology, there's sort of a point in development where we don't do the right thing because we get a reward or we get a punishment when we do the right thing, the wrong thing. We do it because we've learned, we've developed, we've grown by that point, and we just do it because we know it's the right thing to do. We're trained that way. And so that is sort of the course of our development, both as humans and as Jews in this case. But it's important for us to remember that even when we do the wrong thing, and even when there are punishments, it doesn't come from a place of ill will from God. It doesn't come from a bad place. It comes from wanting us to be on the best path. So that's something for us to remember moving forward.